So, along the lines of app ideas, and this could work for people who maybe don't do iPhone development. I was thinking, what could web developers do, like with ARIA, like live regions, maybe to make a web app, or it could be wrapped into a native app. But I mean, can you make something like Twitter easier to use with a live region to make something like automatically read a stream of information to you? Are there any other web services or other things that, just a simple web developer could do to enhance it for somebody using VoiceOver on the iPhone? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Does iPhone VoiceOver support ARIA?
Yes. Yes. iOS 5 will do ARIA. It won't tell you what the landmark region is, but it'll tell you you're in a different landmark.
The ARIA is still in development, and that's my only
It is, yeah.
Well,
and the implementation of ARIA is vastly different between screen readers, platforms,
Well,
browsers.
ARIA has been improved a lot in iOS 5. For instance, the live regions. Freedom has on their Surf's Up training a live regions demo where you can hear, like when new information appears on the screen, the screen reader will automatically announce that new information. This is like related to Ajax. On a web page, you see something new pop in, like a stock ticker or a baseball score, and it changes from 5 to 6. ARIA will enable VoiceOver to just announce Red Sox 5, Astros 6, something like that. And I was just thinking, could I do this with Twitter? So when a new tweet comes in, it just announces it automatically, and then I don't actually need to use the Twitter app or a specific app.
Twitter client. When you launch the Twitter client, when you have the Twitter client installed, it will instead of you can get it to where you can type in your tweet and it will tell you what you've tweeted, but you can have it set to be automatically where you don't have to type anything or you don't do anything, and the Twitter client the voice inside the Twitter client will tell you how many tweets you have, or if a new tweet has come, or if a new tweet has been retweeted.
But back to the developers, were you asking about generally how to make the app itself accessible, or are you talking about what ideas the app can do? Because those can be vastly, the ideas are basically whatever you want it to do, but the accessibility is more defined. In other words, there are certain things, there are certain ways you write the data to the screen, there are certain APIs you'd use, there are certain elements you'd use, but then from that point on, you can, in the same way that there should be no restrictions on a person that develops a game for any audience to come up with a new and innovative interface. As long as that interface is accessible, you can do whatever you want.
Agreed. But the question was really around you as a consumer of content, in the words that because of the limitations in the technologies, right? So the apps will allow you, like Safari, for example, you can copy and paste, right? So you can copy something and paste it elsewhere. If you want to remember that, as even sighted people have to, they would send it to themselves in an email or put it in a note. But what would happen if we were to empower you so you had control of organizing that data?
I think that'd be brilliant.
Okay.
I think that's not restricted to this audience.
That's correct.
I think that would be generally for all of the mobile technology users.
Agreed. But more specifically, if we can get it correct, right? If we can meet your exact standards, right? Then therefore, people with less issues would benefit even more.
Agreed. And I think that the majority of the work there would be to make sure that from a technical point of view, as a developer, the way you write your information to the screen is through APIs that assistive technology can work with, the documented standards, more or less. I think second to that would be, being creative in the design so that it's more intuitive for a person who's blind. And one of the things you always hear is, linear data tends to be better presentable than tabulary data. For somebody who's listening, I could sort of agree with that. Whereas for somebody who's looking, the tabular data is easier to use. So some nuances like that, but I think that primarily as long as you've made your content accessible through the right APIs, the documented APIs, I think that probably would accommodate this.
That's great. Thank you.